it's me, Nikki.
And Janset.
And welcome to the third episode of Hidden Gems of New York.
In this episode, we'll be discussing our favorite museum hacks and also sharing our favorite museums and galleries to go explore in New York.
Before we start, we want to talk about the experience and benefits of going to a museum in general.
I think as high schoolers, it's super important and beneficial for the two of us to walk through a museum and learn about the history behind art and some famous art pieces.
Honestly, it really is educational and could be super fun as well. You can take a bunch of pictures or just pictures of the art in general. Sometimes you can just walk into a museum and you walk out learning information that you did not expect to learn.
Sometimes history can be just so fascinating, and the experience of reading through historical art just makes it 10 times better. However, there are pivotal steps in walking through a museum and museum etiquette.
The first tip is to be respectful of all the tourists and other visitors around you. I mean, it kind of depends on the museum you're going to. I feel like, for example, one of the museums we're going to talk about, the Museum of Ice Cream, it is kind of more appropriate to be loud because everyone is talking. But in a more quieter experience like the MoMA, you don't really want to be talking that much. Another tip I want to mention is it's totally fine to be taking pictures. However, if you're taking pictures next to the art, you want to be mindful of the other people trying to view the art. So don't kind of stand around the picture for long.
And of course, the obvious, keep your hands off of any artwork or sculptures. I think that the one aspect of museums that we all do not enjoy are the prices. When you're visiting a super famous museum, tickets can be super expensive, but luckily, we have some tips.
The first tip for buying tickets is to buy them online. Sometimes they are cheaper, and it also helps you avoid the huge, crazy lines if the museum is kind of famous.
A benefit of doing this is that it's all on your phone, so sometimes if it's a large museum that you have to scan your ticket multiple times to get to different areas, you can just use your phone and you don't have to worry about losing your ticket or not.
One benefit of buying the tickets in person are the student discounts. I've seen more student discounts in person than I have seen online, so just keep that in mind.
And then you want to consider if you are going to a famous museum or just a museum in general in your district or state, sometimes they will let citizens of the state get in for free or cheaper.
One example of a museum is the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So the admission tickets are free for residents of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut students.
The amount of money that you pay for your ticket is really up to you. You don't have to pay a single dime, but if you do want to be generous and support the Metropolitan Museum of Art, it's usually good to pay about $5 to $10.
The general admission tickets are $30 for adults, $22 for seniors, and $17 for students if you're out of the 3 states that we mentioned before.
The Metropolitan Museum of Art is the world-famous museum that has 2 locations in New York City. The first one is the Met Fifth Avenue, and the second one is the Met Cleisters. When most people think about the Metropolitan Museum of Art, they think about the one on Fifth Avenue since it's world-famous for hosting the Met Gala.
One reason that Janset and I love the Met is because they highlight different countries and cultures.
When I visited the Met for the first time with my mom, we discovered that they had a whole section for the Middle East, and we visited the Turkish exhibit. Looking at the history of my country in a museum that's in the United States just made me so happy. It's so educational and has so many amazing pieces that you can read and learn from.
One silly thing about the Met is their Instagram account. We were actually just scrolling on it and saw that they're doing like a collaboration with like Roblox or something. I think that's pretty funny and like unique.
I think that although the museum has a lot of historical exhibits, it's focused on the younger generation. Every time that I go, it's super fun to just walk around with my friends and family, and I always walk out with information that I did not know beforehand.
Next, we're going to be talking about one of the most famous museums in Soho, which is the Museum of Ice Cream.
As we discussed in our prior episodes, Nikki and I love going to Soho, and every time we're on the main street, we pass this museum.
So depending on what time you go and what day you go to the Museum of Ice Cream, the prices fluctuate. As we're scrolling through the website, the more popular days where the tickets get more expensive are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the times mostly ranging from 5 to 8.
One aspect of the Museum of Ice Cream that I absolutely despise are the lines. Since the building is located on such a busy street in Soho, sometimes it can take up to an hour or 2 just to enter the building.
I think the Museum of Ice Cream is so aesthetic. The colors are so visually appealing. They kind of have like a pink scheme going on, and it's super, super nice to look at.
The Museum of Ice Cream is great if you're having a day out with your friends, but I definitely think that there's nothing too valuable in there.
Yeah, I definitely recommend going to a different type of museum if you want to learn something more educational or history-based. There are many photo ops in the Museum of Ice Cream, and it's mostly catered towards posting on social media rather than learning something history or educational based.
Moving on, we're going to be discussing the Museum of Modern Art.
Most famously known for their Frank Ocean painting in the museum. Absolutely loved it, but they took it down. Basically engraved in its name, the Museum of Modern Art mostly caters towards teen audience, and they kind of have more modern art in a way.
The museum has a lot of abstract paintings and modernized art, which is perfect for those people who do not like history.
The Museum of Modern Art honestly has some good discounts. For example, visitors booking online receive a $2 discount. And they do have a collaboration with other companies. For example, the New York Pass, Go City, the Sightseeing Pass. You can enter for free or enter at a discounted price.
I think that this is a super smart and ideal way to sell tickets. It makes people's lives so much easier.
And then there are discounts for visitors with disabilities, and you can reserve a membership with the Museum of Modern Art, as well as children 16 and under are always free.
One thing that's great about the Museum of Modern Art is that some students from specific colleges and universities receive a one-time free admission.
If you are not the biggest fan of history-based art, then I would definitely check this museum out, located in Midtown Manhattan.
That concludes our list of our favorite museums located in New York City.
This is Nikki
And Janset
signing off.
See you next month.